Folks, it has been a long day, but it comes down to this, our grand finals matchup between Sussy players and the Ohio State University Scarlet players, and this is going to be a fantastic matchup here tonight, War. The night is still young. This could go a very, very long distance, but we have our first best of three ready. Before we jump into that, though, let's take a look at what we have seen throughout the day and how these two teams have gotten here, as Sussy players beat the Akron Zips in a close 2-1 series and have only lost one map all day long, whereas OSU Scarlet, they went on that lower bracket run, made it here, and are ready to try and get some revenge.
I think it's very important to look at how the story has gone for both these teams, because obviously in the winners semifinal there, the 13-10, Sussy players did take it over OSU Scarlet on Sunset as the map. So I have to see when these map picks and bandits come in to see exactly which maps these players are deciding to go with. And it looks like we're not going to be seeing any Sunset, so no rematch on the same map. Sussy players are going to opt to ban that as their last ban, but we are going to get our first look at Haven, another big look at Ascent, or another big look at Lotus, and then Ascent as well. So I think three very exciting maps. Two of them are 3-site maps as well, Colorblind.
Yeah, that's going to throw a really interesting wrench into all of this. And the two maps that we are guaranteed to see tonight are 3-map sites, or three site maps, excuse me. It's starting to get a little bit late. I'm going to mix some words around. That being said, I do believe this is our first time that we are seeing Haven be played here tonight on the main stage. And what a way to kick off what could be a very long series. And I say that because of the fact that we obviously have this best of three lined up, but for OSU Scarlet to win, they not only have to win this bracket, they have to win off of a bracket reset. So we have to go in to another best of three. Sussy players, they have the opportunity to send OSU Scarlet packing here and now in this best of three war. Let's not stall. Let's jump into the madness that we have planned for our grand finals here tonight. It's Haven to kick things off.
It's such a massive map. For OSU Scarlet here, it's the chance for 1, redemption, 2, to even force that bracket reset. And obviously, we've got a long road ahead of us, but it's all about how they shape up to do that. We're going to be starting off with the Sussy players on the attacking side, while OSU Scarlet is on the defensive side. Now, looking at the compositions, they're fairly similar, other than that one main difference, this one ace in the hole for OSU Scarlet. That's going to be 999 Dez. He's going to be rocking the neon pick in contrast to KDS on that Raze.
Yeah, no, and we saw this neon pick in the losers finals there, and it was a lot of fun. Personally, Warren makes my ADHD brain tick on another level. I just love the movement off of neon. But again, looking to see what Dez brings out there. We talked to him a little bit after that losers finals, and we got to see a little bit more into what went into that pick. And again, seeing it come out here, map number 1, round number 1 of our grand finals, here and ready to go. And the Sussy players already making their way slowly and steadily into this A site, trying to gain some control here, but being stunned out by the concussion. It's going to prevent them from going onto the site just yet.
Air denial is going to be massive on the side of OSU Scarlet. Shock Dart's not going to connect, though, as Sussy players are going to breach their way onto site. Aftershock comes through as well, but it's not going to take down KDS in this dominant position. The trades are coming in, but it's all in the favor of Sussy players, and now it's just left on the back of Kama, stuck towards heaven of the A site now in a 1v4 situation. Everything to ask for on his head. Can he do it? Can he even put up another kill in this situation? Swings the angle, but he's going to get swung back on. Finds one, but eventually traded out by Samson. That's an exciting start for the Sussy players.
The thing about the Sussy players that I absolutely love is just you can see it on their faces when they are rolling. They are feeling it. You can see it just all across the board. The hype in their body language. It's just, it's something else, man.
Shamson having a bit of fun with it as well. A nice Omen TP up to the top. I'm not really sure what he's expecting on the side of OSU Scarlet here, but definitely want to keep this high angle in case anybody looks to go for the flank. Obviously, Sussy players have a buy. They have a lot of potential here, but they don't want to give it up, and they do not want to let OSU Scarlet overwhelm them with classics, because even though it is the worst gun in the game, you can still do a lot with a group of united players.
And OSU Scarlet trying to stay as united as possible over towards that A site. Also applying some pressure over towards B, but there is nobody home over towards that C site. Obviously, you do have the KJ that could rotate in from Garage very quickly to provide some defense. But both teams in a game of chess here. It's neither of them really making a move early on and kind of respecting each other. Frosty, though, is going to get so much information from that Sova drone granted his way, and that is going to start the push over towards the opposing side of the map. See OSU, though, selling in some players, potentially rotating in. Now the smokes starting to lie onto the site. It's going to create so much room for Sussy players to make their push on in. Get that spike down.
Paranoia sent all the way through as well. Dez managed to find his way onto the side, managed to find himself in a very commanding position. The rest of the team is getting cleaned up though. Guini with the peek through. Dez with a quick trade, tries to go for a second one, but it's not going to be able to find it. It's going to be 2 kills for OSU Scarlet. Still not a bad round for the save, but definitely not exactly what they're looking for.
Not exactly, but you do some economic damage over towards the Sussy players. They're going to find themselves in an economic disadvantage here in this round as you're going to start to see those Vandals, those Phantoms come out from the side of OSU Scarlet. Sussy players will have a couple of Vandals, couple of Phantoms on their side, but a Bulldog and a Spectre to even things out. And now, the opportunity here for the OSU Scarlet team is really presenting itself. Can they take this round? Can they keep the Sussy players from catching fire? Really gaining a lot of presence. Frosty gets downed immediately down mid. Dez, a great peek there out of him. Still, the B site looking like it's going to be surrendered here, at least in the early round. Back and forth trades we go, but ultimately Sussy players will find themselves with a player personnel advantage as they make their way over towards this C site. The rotation in from behind is on from the side of OSU. Spike going down. Very wise to play this C-long approach as well. Allow OSU to kind of walk into your crosshairs and down them one by one. It's the goal for Sussy players.
No controller up. Nothing to really deny space for OSU. So they're really going to realize eventually this setup is going to be towards long. A KJ turret is going to stand in the way. A couple taps. We're going to bait out the utility. Guini put in such an awkward position here. They got to keep tapping the spike. They got to keep forcing out the position. But with Sussy players, they only need one person to peek. And it looks like OSU Scarlet isn't even going to give it more opportunity. They want to save their guns. They realize the position down C-long is very insurmountable. And I think we're going to see that position abused a lot throughout today, Colorblind.
Yeah, a wise decision there out of OSU to go ahead and back out of that exchange. Sussy team is going to gain another round on the board here. 3-0 for them. Coming into this next round here, even footing will be the name of the game as Sussy players will find themselves with Phantoms across the board, whereas OSU be down in terms of the utility that they have in their hands here.
And Vesperal already has generated 1 KJ ultimate. I'm assuming that's on the back of multiple ult orbs as well, and with the help of his teammates. But still, to have that by round number 4 is massive, especially for what they're trying to do. Shamsin, so smart with this angle. Holding on to that position as an omen, sort of as a lurk roll, is very, very unexpected for anybody trying to push up long. And they're really doing a good job of countering this aggression from Ohio State.
Yeah, not letting Ohio State take any map control whatsoever in terms of the aggression. Gonna force Ohio State to play back. Not really give any pressure over towards the Sussy players, and they are gladly going to make moves with that. Down to C-long they go. Chuck the Human trying to get some information off on the peak. Will do exactly that, but will get down by Vesperial. What a play out of him is going to create so much room for them to enter on the site. Next line of defense is going to be Grifty. He gets shut down right away. 2 players standing for OSU on this retake. 5 players standing for the Sussy players as the bomb does go down as well. Kame heading on over towards the garage side. Tinguini trying to enter through main. Kame looks to be the first line of defense into this retake. He goes, and the pincer over towards the garage could be insurmountable here. Time ticking away. Just gotta make sure nobody is behind him as he tries to make his push on in, and the slow and steady push might ultimately result in them not even deciding to push at this rate.
Yeah, and it's the same two players in this exact same situation as last time. They're basically isolated out. They know that their opponents are going to have these molly setups. They're going to have these paint shell setups, and they're going to have these shock dart setups for long. And with a composition like the one that Sussy players are running, I feel like OSU really needs to prioritize this C control because they have so many options on the defensive side once that spike goes down. If they manage to take C over and over and over again, we can see a trend similar to what was happening to Akron being abused on the Lotus C site, especially just with this setup that the Sussy players are able to put up.
Now Sussy players, so much momentum going their way here and looking to continue to add on to that. OSU will be able to stack up. Realistically, the first time that we have seen on this map, both teams, Vandals and Phantoms in hands, and this is where things start to become serious here, Wars. Both teams on even footing for the first time since the pistol round, and see that Attacker Killjoy ultimate trying to gain some presence onto this A site. OSU not going to back out of it just yet, and Tinguini finds himself in an interesting corner where he's able to avoid it. Dez will get detained, but Tinguini still has his presence, is able to get that shock dart, and is able to prevent the plant, at least for the time being. Scares Shamson away for that matter of seconds. He's not going to be able to capitalize on it, though, as it's a 5v5 with the spike down.
5v5 situation. The only damage dealt so far via shock darts and various other pieces of utility. Team's still looking to get active, but it's more utility chaos. And eventually, the gunfights are going to start. Sussy players with the advantage on these trade. And oh my gosh, Frosty with the crazy positioning in hell. Just going to take it for the team, bringing them up to 5 rounds.
You can see the difference already in terms of the team morale, in terms of just everything across the board, and the body language as well. Sussy players, they're all smiles, and OSU just trying to get locked in, stay locked in. Now a very interesting buy here is Keme sitting on the Vandal. All players with light shields as well. The Hero Vandal buy here, very interestingly timed, but I guess it does work across the board with the credits. Speaking of credits, Sussy players, they are just rolling in them. It's going to be very tough for OSU to swing this momentum back their way, and once again, we see the C hit coming through. Kame just trying to send some shots in with the cross, and it's not going to be able to find much. Instead, KDS bringing in the big boy. The showstopper is in and is ready to go. It's going to further cement the presence over towards the C site for the Sussy players.
Looks like OSU, different approach here. They're going to be going on to flank. I like this play from them. It's a very dominant one, a very powerful one that they can be sort of setting up. And for the first time, it feels like in this entire game, OSU has the advantage on players, but at the same time, there's definitely a disadvantage in terms of the positions they put themselves in. Grifty trying to set up the team well, a double flash through, but he's going to get punished for it. It's Noodle and Frosty who are doing such a good job clearing everybody through, and now it's just Chuck the Human, and now it's just nobody left for OSU. Sussy players really finding a way to create success on this map.
Yeah, no, success is an understatement. This is an all-out thrashing thus far. Just nothing seems to be going against them, and even when you think maybe they might have a little tear in their armor, they just repair it, and they're able to swing back in such a huge way. And no surprise here, OSU coming through with the timeout activated. And in a spot like this, again, down 6-0, I do believe the economy is in a spot where they can buy up in this round. Probably going to be on light shields, though, all things considered. You really have to ask yourself, hey, as a team, where do we go from here? How are we going to prevent this snowball effect that is already starting to matriculate right in front of us? That's a hard question to answer at this rate.
Looking back to the map picks from this round and before, obviously, this is Sussy's pick. So they do feel very, very confident on Haven. They probably would have played Haven as one of the maps against the Akron Zips in the winners final if it wasn't instantly banned by them. So it's definitely a map that they feel most comfortable with, and it's definitely a map that enables their sort of aggressive play style, their means of trading off of each other. I want to see OSU Scarlet get a bit innovative with what they're trying to do. I know it's obviously easy for me to say as an observer, but I don't know. When you're facing down a team like Sussy players, it is definitely no easy feat.
Not only that, it's hard to figure out what you want to do and how to change things up on defense, especially when there's 3 sites that you have to contend for as well. It's just a tall task that they have here, and at some point they just have to find something that will go their way. and grasp onto that. Sussy players now a little bit uncharacteristic to see them this slow in the early rounds here. They've been quick and decisive thus far, and obviously anticipating OSU to switch some things up. Starting to see that in the map flow as we see them heavily present over towards the C and B side of the map, lacking maybe towards that A side.
That's all right, because they can dictate the pacing of the map, and they have had so much success. Obviously gone perfect throughout the map, but on every C take, it just felt like there's almost no contention overall. Grifty, the rest of the team with a job to do, but look at the position Camden has put himself in here. He's playing up, he's playing ahead of it all, and he's gonna get blinded through.
Oh. The fact that he stays alive there, so big, especially with two players screaming around the corner, C long, and Sussy players actually losing a player in that early part of the round, and now put into a spot, interestingly, here where they're going to have to figure out where they want to take this. Looks like the Killjoy moving over towards that A site, where there is a severe lack of presence out the side of OSU. Scarlet moving with the spike as well. Vespiral taking the point, taking the line in, and Shamson will get the control of Hell as well. 11 seconds left to work with here. The spike will go down. OSU, though, reading it through and through, and you have the enemy Killjoy in your backlines as well that you're going to have to contend with. Player personnel going their way, and they have to hold this. They have to play retake.
Vesperal's looking to give up the backline, put the majority of the pressure onto this front side. Good investment here as KDS, absolutely massive. And KDS is actually going to look to push the tempo on this as well. It's literally just Tinguini left, and KDS with an initial swing onto it. Oh my gosh. You don't expect that much unprecedented sort of attack when you're on defense, but if you're feeling confident, if you're up to the challenge like KDS was, why not? You're up by this much. You might as well put the pedal on the metal and send it straight to OSU.
It did not feel like they had any control of that map at any point in that round, and the way that the setup was going, you had OSU at every single corner possible, and KDS just decides, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go and play team deathmatch real quick. You guys stay here. Like, that is some ridiculous stuff out of him. Sussy players now up 7-0, and OSU on another light buy as well. Only a shotgun to work with outside of the Sheriffs, and at this point, you might as well just send it down A long, getting very aggressive here, just trying to find something to cling on to, maybe pick up a vandal or two in this exchange if you possibly can. Neon Ultimate will come online, get the first kill to go, but Noodle will eventually shut him down, and the refrag will go. Now Frosty trying to gain some control of mid, but will be cut down to 27 HP. So far, so good, all things considered for OSU, but you've left that C site completely wide open, and now things are going to start to get very dicey.
Definitely very dicey, even in the 4v4 situation, with the plant going down and the Rolling Thunder coming all the way through. It's going to force OSU Scarlet into such an awkward position now. Taking over the top, going to swing down onto Shamson, but the trades are there. The swing is through. Noodle, Shamson holding on as a team, holding on together, and managing to take that round. And you look at them colorblind, there's smiles across their faces. They're feeling very confident.
Those smiles have been there since round one, partner. They have been feeling themselves on Haven here, and rightfully so. I mean, everything, again, has gone their way. Even when it feels like it maybe shouldn't, it has all gone the way of the Sussy players, and OSU has just been left to pick up the pieces at this rate. It has been not easy for them by any stretch of the imagination. Now, though, 2 ultimates online for them. Not a lot necessarily that you can really write home about in terms of those ultimates, but if you can get crafty with them, if you can get creative, could maybe be a huge sway point in this round. And Kame just getting aggressive, and not necessarily the best move in that aggression, as he will be taken down.
Feels like OSU Scarlet's just sending things at the wall, hoping that one of these pushes or one of their characteristic aggressions is going to stick. But from the side of the Sussy players, it's so tactical. The executes are so smart. They come in from both sides. Players like Tinguini, what can they do when all the pressure is on them? It's going to be big play. The Rolling Thunder comes through, and Tinguini enabled for a second, but still 4v4 situation. And because everybody has sort of invested onto this A site, I think it's going to put a big question mark on OSU Scarlet, whether or not Sussy players are going to decide to make the rotate or just stick it around, cut noise completely, and then slowly creep back On to A.
OSU sending 2 players over towards C to potentially contend with that rotation. But Sussy, players have not left at all. They are still here. It's only a matter of time until they make their presence known, especially with the time ticking away as well. Grifty trying to find something with that breach utility. Tinguini with the hold, and oh, it's not going to work though, as the trigger discipline, it was so good until it wasn't. Checkerboard in the feed leaves just Dez. Last player standing on the Neon could potentially use that movement to his advantage, but when you have 2 players spraying you down, it's not going to be enough. And again, Sussy players just find rounds they might, you could argue, not be favored in. I mean, this is an all-out showing out of them.
And they're just doing so good at dictating just the pace of this map. They may start out slow sometimes, and that's putting a really big question mark on the side of OSU in the sense of, can they flank? Can they not flank? You can see when the flanks do come through, like they did for Dez there, they're good, but the only reason they're getting that is because Sussy players are hitting the site so fast, they already clear out every other person. They just keep sending stuff at the wall. Dez goes straight in. It's not going to be able to find anything. KDS looking for the space. Doesn't clear it, though. The Aftershock's going to be able to take out Grifty as well. Jump onto site. Blast packs coming through. Tinguini does a good job of shutting that one down. Chuck the human with everything to do. It's just sprayed completely through by Noodle. Noodle finds 2. Eventually gets shut down there, but Sussy players still looking as clean as when they started.
Yeah, no, 10-0, and just, again, you see the difference of body language. You can see it. You don't need the score. You don't need the gameplay to understand how this thing is shaking up. I mean, OSU, whatever they try, it just doesn't seem to be working. Your highest frag only has 4 kills as well. You are losing out so badly in terms of the kills, in terms of the map control, in terms of just everything, nothing going your way. 2 ultimates online for the Sussy players as well. I'm looking towards that raise to potentially get active. Dez once again trying to make that approach towards C long, getting very aggressive. This time has some backup, but that's just going to send the Sussy players over towards the A site, and OSU's not even going to try and contend with them or wrap around in the backlines. They're just going to leave them to go.
Well, they've been so scared to do that. They have all the reason to just give it up because characteristically, they haven't been able to win those situations. Now, Camda's left to sort of solo defend the site. All the utils coming in. Paint Shell's going to be exploding. KDS with a massive showstopper. That's going to find Tinguini. And OSU Scarlet, they're completely pushed off. They might have the lockdown, but look at the HP on their side. It's dwindling slowly and surely. Camda, Grifty, they're making it a very contestable situation, and now there's got to be some consideration. OSU Scarlet, do we invest into this round? The KJ defender lockdown is going to come through. Shamson's trying to play ahead of this, and he finds a massive pick. He's going to be getting detained here, though. Not going to be able to get out. Dez shuts that down. Now, a 3v2 situation. Sussy players finally on the back. It's a risky one, but Noodles with a quick trade. Rolling Thunder online. They're going to blast on the site. Dez, run for your life in this situation. Noodle finds 1. Noodle finds 2, and they're going to bring it to 11.
That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You dedicate the defensive KJ ultimate onto the point. You get the retake to go, and they just rolling. I don't. Words are escaping me at this point, partner. This is a all-out masterclass from the Sussy players on the attacker side here, and OSU. They have to find something. They cannot lose this round. They cannot lose this round. They cannot lose the next round. They cannot lose the next. You get the point. Like if they want to keep in the mix of this, they need to find something here and now to shift this up. Again, that C-long approach, especially with the lack of economy here out of OSU Scarlet's going to spell disaster. KDS is already pushed all the way up into the site. 1 kill on the board for him. Rotation around is really what you have to sell your soul on if you are OSU, but Frosty is reading it through and through, gets blinded out. It's going to be a Vandal potentially picked up here. Still, you have to contend with the C-long push, and they know exactly where you're coming from. You have Shamson sitting right around the corner here. You have the attacker Killjoy with the ultimate dedicated to the site as well. Prevents you from getting in anytime soon, and gives so much information away for the Sussy players as they continue to pick up the picks.
It's going to be a TP out. Dez finds 2. Now looking to open it up on the site. Flowing into the site here. Seeing if he can find anybody, but Noodle just takes his head off, and Noodle finds the second. Oh my god. Noodle is on a different level right now. At the end of these rounds, he has just been cleaning up in monumental ways.
And Noodle is just, he's on a rampage. There is no other way to cut it. He has been the MVP thus far on the map. The kills that he is getting are just so key to swing things back. 19-2. Are you kidding me? Somebody take this man down. Sussy players, match point, into the pistol round we go, and OSU dead in the water on Haven.
And Noodle's been doing this the entire time as well, too. He's been getting consistently aggressive. And I think it was on round 6 or round 7. It was the first round he even died in. He's been doing this almost flawlessly throughout the entire time. And his team's just capitalizing on this breach util and this aggression that he can put through. The util is just amazing again. It's going to completely deny the space that they're taking. And he's just feeling it. He's going to swing into a situation where he shouldn't even be winning. But Sussy players managed to win it out anyways. 2 players going to push through onto that space. And now they're looking for some space on site. But Camda with a big pick onto Frosty. Now making it a 3v3 situation. If there's any round for OSU Scarlet to win, it's this one. It's here and now.
They absolutely have to take it, otherwise the game is over, and Sussy players from every which angle are trying to find their way back onto the point. That is going to be big, though, out of Grifty to create some separation once again, prevent the push onto the point. Vespero will find one. Kame will drop, though, and now it comes down to Grifty and Tinguini, who are able to get one apiece and get the kill to go. 12-1, OSU picking up the pistol. They are not out of it just yet.
See some thumbs up, some smiles on the face of the OSU players. I mean, I can't say anything about a reverse sweep at this point in time. They gotta really show up if they want to do that. But 1 round on the board, it's gonna do something good for the mental overall. And even in this situation, I'd say yes, this is favored for OSU, especially on an attacker-sided map. But with the shots that Sussy players have been putting up throughout this entire match, I don't know. They're planning on splitting apart this C site, and it looks like there's not much presence given into that location. So Death's just going to be able to slide on, has the Vandal in hand. He's going to be this hero player, do everything for the team, and straight through the smoke, Dez. I mean, I don't know what you had for breakfast today, but it must have been something good.
Yeah, no, they are feeding him really good in that camp, and the kills will go the way of OSU as well. Just one player standing on the side of the Sussy players. It's going to be Frosty. Realistically speaking, a classic in hand. Not much that you can do in a round like this. Just trying to find the kill off onto one of the players and gets denied. Flawless round there out of OSU. And again, we talked about or alluded to the fact that, hey, it's not really realistic to have a comeback on this map, but you're still walking away with a couple of rounds on the board. That being said, now Sussy players are going to be armed and dangerous. Vandals, Phantoms, whatever you can ask for, they are going to have it. And this could very well be that final round in map number 1.
Your Sussy players, you're definitely looking to bring it to OSU in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, you're on the defender side, but we've seen how Sussy players, even when on defense, tend to show a bit of aggression, especially when they have the gun's advantage, when they're playing with house money. At this point, they basically are, with the amount of economy damage and the amount of round damage that they have already attributed. OSU Scarlet on the other side, debating whether or not they should commit to this C site. They've had success there the past 2 rounds, but at this point in time, when OSU Scarlet is blessed with the favorable gun situation, it may not be the best site to commit to. So we see a shift towards the A site. Still a bit of presence shown on C. Definitely going to be looked to be some type of explosion onto A with this breach utility.
Frosty, the lone player of defense over towards the site, calling for his reinforcements to come on in, and that might be the wrong call here. The ultimate bait and switch here out of OSU Scarlet. They send players over towards that A site. OSU capitalizes on that C site. Kame first line of offense into the point. Noodle, the lone player, waiting for his reinforcements to come in, will find one. But that being said, OSU will find 2 in response. Player personnel advantage being granted their way. Spike will go down. Dez with another on the board. But Frosty is singing through with the Odin shots. Will find 1, 2, 3, 4. The round and the map going the way of Sussy players. And what? What a way to end it there. My goodness.
Hey, I mean, if you need something to be that nail in the coffin, how about 100 bullets of an Odin to just like hammer it in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, takes them all down in a situation that shouldn't have really been winnable. But I mean, if anybody can do it, it's Frosty. It's that X factor for the team. He's always so unpredictable and so interesting to see how he plays out those rounds. That was incredible. And Sussy players managing to pick up a 13-2 victory on Haven. That was monumental.
In the grand finals? Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous. I know it was their map pick, but there is no world in the grand finals where it should be or look that easy. That being said, the saving grace here for OSU is the fact that heading into Lotus, that is their pick. We have seen them look really, really good on this map. Obviously, another 3-site map in the fray as well. That could still change a couple of things with the map switch. Sussy, though, they are on the door of winning this entire tournament, being your Act 2 champions, taking home a grand finals prize of $700. And man, it's looking a little bit grim for OSU.
It is definitely looking a bit grim for OSU. I'll say their saving graces, I believe, and I for a fact know that they had a much better place and round-to-round win ratio against Akron than Sussy players did on Lotus. So it's probably just a map differential. We know that Sussy players have been prioritizing Haven throughout this entire series, and we know that OSU definitely does look good on Lotus. So I think if it's any time for OSU to turn up, it's right here, it's right now. They can put up some big stops.
Absolutely do. This is the best opportunity for them in the series. Not only do they have to win this series on a reverse sweep now, they have to perform the bracket reset if they want to win. Our Sussy players, they are on the doorstep of doing so. We're going to go ahead and send it into a very quick break, but do not go anywhere. Grand finals still going on. Well, it could very well come down to this. In our grand finals, Sussy players one map away from taking that first place, taking that grand finals prize of $700 home as well. OSU is on the back foot here on the opposition side of things. And not only do they have to win this map, they have to win the next one, and they have to win a bracket reset all on top of that as well. Let's take a look at what we saw in that last map. For those of you who were not there, it was not very pretty. Sussy players, they won by like 13-2.
Yeah, but a new map, a new story, a new potential for the Ohio State University to really show up and show out here on Lotus, a map that they have experience with this tournament and a map that they intentionally picked. They said, we're going to be confident on this map. We're going to show up on this map. And I really love the composition that's coming through, because it felt like on the last map, at least, you had Chuck the Human on sort of that smokes role. You had Tinguini on a bit of a awkward role as well. You had Grifty Alpha Smokes, and now they're going back to what they've normally played in. They're going back to the basics, and they're going back to something that they're a bit more confident in my opinion. But on the side of the attackers, that's going to be the Sussy players. We get to see the Euro again.
I feel like the Ohio State works a little bit better than the Sussy players.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
No, I love it. I love it. But no, you talked about the compositions as well. Grifty, he's kind of fumbling around with what he wants to lock in here. I saw a little text chat that said someone needs to Venmo him $1 for him to lock in, and I don't think anyone's going to Venmo him anytime soon. But again, I'm interested to see on the side of OSU. I want to see Dez find that value again on this Neon. We saw him do it before. Can he do it in this? That is the question as well. But again, very standard compositions across the board here. This could very well be it. Both of these teams in very different situations here.
And I think Sussy players, they're fighting right now for the championship. They're fighting for the title. Game Arena event Act 2 champions. They're fighting to be called the Sussy players, not just Sussy players anymore, colorblind. And
I love it.
They definitely want to show it on this side. They have a very attack heavy comp, and I like that because they start out with a lot of pressure. They start out with a lot of power, and they were able to in my opinion, not only put OSU Scarlet on the back foot, have them tripping, have them stumbling, have them almost halfway out the door. So it's really on the back of OSU Scarlet to see what they can do. I'm really interested to see how they're going to set up the defense, and I already love this presence towards Seaside. They're putting a lot of emphasis on ensuring that Sussy players don't get the momentum on Seaside, because we know how much this team loves to send it at Seaside over and over again as their initial push.
Yeah, it's their patented approach here. And, well, the patented approach is looking a little bit different. You're sending 3 players over towards B, where no players to the side of OSU are occupying, at least in the early round, but you still have all those players segmented out between the 2 sites. First kill on the board coming through from Frosty, and after that B site didn't work, it's a funnel through into C. Chuck the Human, the first line of defense, will find a kill on the crossers. We'll have to back out of there, luckily getting evened out in terms of the personnel. He waits for his reinforcements to come on in. Grifty will find one, will be denied the other, as Vespiro will find 2. Player personnel advantage granted the way of Sussy players. Now coming in through main is Tinguini and co, trying to make the approach back onto the point, but do they expect these players to be playing where they are? Shamson not read whatsoever, and Sussy players picking up the first round.
A good swing, an early swing in Sussy players' favor. They didn't need that by any means, but it's definitely going to be something that is going to be taken definitely not lightly on the side of OSU. So now a buy comes out from Sussy players. I like this save from OSU Scarlet. They're not trying to force on anything fancy. They're going to have enough credits for their Vandals, their Phantoms, and their rifle round coming up. It's all about what damage they can do. And it's a good split towards B here. I like this. They are willing to push aggressively as a team, and they're willing to fight for trades in this situation. But I think the presence is noted. Camda going to have to throw it on the utility, and OSU Scarlet's going to have to find some way to collapse inwards.
This is a really interesting play again out of OSU Scarlet, but with the artillery disadvantage that they are going to be facing, I don't know how valuable it will be in the grand scheme of things. Instead, making the approach over towards A, though, are the Sussy players, and the rotation early on is going to be seen out of Dez as he makes his way over, trying to see where these players might be playing from, and he's going to meet a lot of resistance in the form of the Sussy players making their way onto A. Shamson with the plant going down as well. OSU is very scattered throughout this site on this retake. You have 2 players behind, 2 players in front. Not a lot of artillery to work with.
An alarm bot's going to be able to detect that situation. They're going to shut down one behind, and Noodle kind of gets caught toying with his food a bit there. Only expected 1 player on the flank, but ends up being 2. And now, a very interesting situation. Swings are going to come through, and this could be turning in the favor of OSU Scarlet. Dez, obviously with no gun, but Grifty has won himself a Vandal. Both players stacked up in tree. There's going to be a swing coming through, and Frosty, this is that factor. He's that spray transfer man, and he's going to be the one to take it. But for OSU Scarlet, I mean, that was not a bad round at all.
Oh, not at all. You do the economic damage necessary to enter this 3rd round with a significant upper hand over the Sussy players if you are OSU. And now this becomes a very interesting round for the Sussy players as we see them kind of backed against the wall in terms of what they have, in terms of those guns. Not a lot to work with here. Vandals, Phantoms all across the board for OSU. Very different tales. This could be the opening that OSU needs to really get things rolling on this map.
These types of situations, this is where Sussy players look to get innovative, but you're just getting sprayed down by Chuck. Feels like an almost insurmountable force that is just staring you down with a Vandal. You know, nobody in your team has that caliber of weapon. You sort of have to take a step back, reset, and see where to play onto. But a lot of presence from OSU Scarlet seen towards B. The real push is going to be towards the A side. Camden is going to check outwards, see how many players are there. He's going to find the angle, going to put a lot of pressure through. Definitely not afraid to show his cards here.
The way OSU has already rotated, Sussy players look to be reading it through and through, trying to make their way over towards the A side. It's just bouncing between sites at this point. First started out over towards B, heading over towards C, now heading over towards A. The blind will catch, but OSU, again, just continuing to read them like a book. It is a textbook. Decisive play here throughout the round from OSU. Now Grifty is going to get active. Around the corner he goes. Frosty will find one, but is mirrored out by the OSU squad. KDS. able to find one in the afterlife, but it just comes down to Frosty in a 1v3, 33 HP, and a dream. That dream is surely going to be snuffed out by Chuck. That's the round you really, really need if you are OSU.
That's a good one on the board for OSU, getting their numbers up before this push starts to happen for Sussy players. And it's so important that they do it on this defensive side, because I'd say Lotus probably one of the most attacker-sided maps that you can play around, and also a map where Sussy has shown up massive when attacking. So it's so important that they are prioritizing this defensive setup and prioritizing a lot of presence here towards both A and C. It looks like the presence from OSU is going to be given towards C. The question is that the right read? And I think it's going to be.
This is very interesting here. Tinguini goes down, but Dez is not willing to buckle whatsoever. First kill on the board as Frosty drops. He's able to get out of there, able to put the wall up, able to gain some map control once again back for OSU Scarlet as they look to continue to fortify in this C point. They know that the Sussy players are going to be making their way on in. It's only a matter of time and a matter of angles, as well as Dez will be the first man up to bat here, trying to find anything he possibly can with the spray through the smoke. Is not going to find much. Noodle off cam will find the kill onto Chuck, but Vespiro will find the kill onto Dez, and now things are looking really good for the Sussy players who have rotated over towards that B site, got that spike down. Grifty, though, is sitting in a very precarious spot that could get a lot of value. Spike is spotted. Never mind. Shamson sends him to the Shadow Realm. It comes down to Kame. 1v4. Turns into a none v4. And right back in the driver's seat, the Sussy players find themselves.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're trying to read into the way that Sussy players play, you always got to account for the rotation. Until they're committed onto a site, they are more than willing to back out. I wish my ranked teammates were like that, in the sense that, like, I mean, you have the entire map to play with, guys, right? But
can't have
Sussy,
anything good.
They understand that concept so well, and they're so willing to just play flexibly. The flexibility is definitely going to be showing throughout this game, and especially on this round, where OSU definitely going to be showing a lot of presence towards the C site.
And OSU is backing off of the C site now. Backing off, backing back on, just trying to decide where they want to attribute their players on the early part of this round. And Sussy players trying to figure out exactly where they want to go. Frosty flirting with the idea activating that ultimate over towards the B point might be an advisable play here, as there is not a lot of presence over towards B, or at least on top of B. Here we go. They'll dedicate it, trying to open up that site. We're trying to create a distraction. Hold on. This is so good out of the Sussy players, as they're going to continue their push into C. The lone player to defend here is going to be Grifty, as he's getting tagged up one by one. Will find the kills to go, though. They don't read him whatsoever. Evened out 3 apiece. Now next man to bat up is Dez, and he'll find one. OSU, they're playing this round ridiculously.
That stick by Grifty, absolutely massive in denying the Sussy players. And now it's a question of, what does OSU have in line? And it's going to be a lot. Tinguini taps ahead. Frosty brings it close, though. Drops Dez down to such low HP. It's a single tap. A Swarm could do it. A Turret could do it. But Dez has the Vandal now. Drops back. 5 HP left. Forced off the spike. Needs to make a monumental play here. He's called himself the guy who can definitely do it. A tapless spike. Frosty's just going to spam through, and Frosty's going to pick up 4.
Are you kidding me? What was that out of Frosty? Picking up the judge, laying down the pain, and then able to clutch out the 1v1 against Dez. And again, you can just see it in the body language, the difference between the two teams. What a play out of Frosty, and it just continues from that last map. Everything can seemingly go wrong for the Sussy players, and they'll still find a way to land on their feet. They're like cats. You throw them and they'll land on their feet no matter what. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Vesperio has always been aggressive with this dimensional drift. He always likes to use it, probably the most proactive ways ever, to sort out exactly where players are going to be. This time he's actually going to do a bit of a stick with it and then instantly TP back. And now they have all 5 on a quick rotate. They've identified that 3 of OSU Scarlet teammates are on the site. And now they're running down C. I do not think this one's going to be a fake. So much
Oh,
utility
my goodness.
invested, but Chuck the Human with a massive shutdown.
He's going to have to shut down many more players to come. Shamson will find the exchange off on him. Now the spike will go down. Have Dez as the next man up over towards the defensive side here, trying to gain any information that he possibly can. Omen Smoke will go down. Around the corner, here's Vatspiro, and this is going to be a big play out of him required to keep things going. We'll find some information if the dog knows exactly where he is, but not anticipating Noodle to be playing that close up as well. Now the kills just continue to go the way of the Sussy players. Frosty ducking, diving, dodging, and going back and forth, trying to find this kill outer C long and secure the round for his squad, and things for OSU have seemingly fallen apart. Kame wisely backing up off of the play here and letting it be what it is going to be, a round win for the Sussy players, and they continue their momentum.
Smart play to effectively cut your losses if you are OSU. Smoke yourselves inwards, take what you can find, but still a lot they need to find in this match specifically. Have not picked up momentum at all. They do have some key ultimates online. We've seen Dez become so aggressive whenever he has overdrive potential, and then obviously the lockdown, probably one of the most important defensive ultimates, whether it be for retake or site denial. They can do so much with it, but it's another lineup towards this C site.
Yeoman carrying the spike here is something that I want to pay attention to, because you still have that teleportation online as well. The juke, if necessary, could be absolutely legendary, especially given the presence over towards A. Kind of lacking for the side of OSU. Chuck immediately met with some resistance, has to back out of the fray. Grifty will respond and head back in, but gets taken out by Noodle. Shamson again going with the plant over towards C, and this C site just seemingly will not stop working for the Sussy players here.
Kame looking for some type of angle. Chuck definitely in a position where he can use the lockdown, but I don't know if it's the situation to do so. Especially when you have players like Noodle and Vatspiro finding massive picks. KDS, I don't even know how he found that angle. And Dez tries to go in. The ultimate doesn't catch any heads there. Still trending in the favor of the Sussy players. And now, I think they're going to be up to 7.
Yeah, no, it's just, this has been, again, similar to the last map where the Sussy players, they catch that momentum, and once you give that to them, there's just not much else you can do, realistically speaking. Now OSU, they will have the Vandals and the Phantoms, but it's going to come at a cost, as 4 of those players are left with 0 credits after their buys. You don't take this round if you're OSU, you are economically crippled, and then some. Sussy players, uncharacteristic, this time not heading over towards C, instead gonna try and go for that middle control. It will be granted. Grifty will be the first line of defense, spotting out Vatspiro, getting that first, getting the second on the spray transfer as well, and that is huge for OSU. Now calling for his teammates, the reinforcements to come on in and continue to fortify over towards this B site.
Tinguini with another pick as well. Sort of falling apart this round for the Sussy players. And the crowd in a certain space, the flash hits on Noodle as well, which means that the assumption is made. Both players are going to be set up towards the A site, but I love the discipline. They're keeping multiple players towards that B side, towards that C side. They're going to let the smoke go down. It's going to be an absolute brawl, but Tinguini's going to be the one to win it out. The spray is there. They're looking excited. They got one round through.
Such an important round for OSU. You could not have asked for a better round out of them in that spot as well. Keeping so many players alive means that their economy is in a decent spot now where they can operate with it in this next round. Obviously, Sussy players, they're still going to have all of those credits, the surplus from the previous however many rounds that they rattled off back to back. Still in the driver's seat, arguably here, but new life potentially granted for OSU to try and keep that momentum going their way this go around. The shift of the pendulum potentially in their way.
Yeah. Keme holding it very well, but that's going to be a fake through. And his other counterpart on this hold of this site is going to fall down. Vatspiro doing an absolutely clinical job of working his way up and onto this site. This is going to be the one to aggressively pick the angle. Vatspiro with the third as well. He's absolutely popping off, and he's taking everything he can get and more. The fourth for Vatspiro. Now looking for Chuck the Human. He's not going to let up. The spray is there, and Chuck denies the ace. I don't know if he can deny this bomb detonation, though.
It's a really interesting spot he finds himself in. Has that KJ ultimate to work with here, but arguably not necessarily the best ultimate to dedicate, especially in a spot like this, where you could rather hold on to it, and with time ticking away as well. Looks like he's just going to try and pick up as many frags as he can, do some sort of damage. The damage will be dealt over towards him as he falls in the latter half of the round, and Sussy players once again picking up right where they left off. OSU not able to get consecutive rounds to this point. Again, on their map pick as well. It's just insult to injury here.
Insult to injury. No true momentum's found. It can be the inconsistent round, but it needs to be more than that. If you are OSU Scarlet, now 2 rounds left in this half. This bye from OSU is going to be scrappy, but they're going to force into this and prepare. Hopefully win this one. But already an ultimate out online from Vasperoil. He's gotten 4 on the previous round and definitely going to be looking for more here.
Oh my goodness, the shorty play comes through. Huge 1 kill on the board. Des will deny much more, but now this site is starting to be converged on. KDS finds himself behind Des, will get the kill to go. And now continuing to push OSU out of the site is the Sussy players. KDS has to be very careful with the way that he plays the rest of the round. Will be getting healed up from his Sky, which is a huge play here. Now sending in the dog, trying to gain some sort of information here out of OSU. Blind comes through as well, just trying to create something. Sends in that ultimate as well, sending in the shots, and OSU ringing him off 1 by 1. Ultimately comes down to Frosty, a 1v2 situation for him now. Sending in that utility, but it's not going to be enough as Tinguini hits the defuse and Grifty finds the kill. And now OSU starting to find some rounds here.
So that's a big round, because if they lost that one, they wouldn't have had any real bye to go off of on this final round where they're on defense. Now it's looking, future's a bit cloudy, but definitely not bleak for OSU just yet. Obviously still a lot to do in this match, but the ultimates are definitely in their favor. Some major ones to work with. The Viper's Pit finally online, the cam, and also the lockdown to deny the opposite side. They've set up on either side of the map, 3 towards A, 2 towards C. The real presence. They figure out that nobody's defending this B site. Might look to push in, but instantly OSU going to cover that angle.
Wise decision there as OSU converges onto C and not willing to give it up. Leaves the Sussy players in the back lines over towards their spawn, still trying to figure out exactly where they want to go. Get this kill off onto the Omen, you have a lot of room to work with over towards A, especially given the fact that OSU is starting to flush their way over towards the C side of the map, and it looks like that's exactly what is going to happen. The kill not coming through, but they're still going to make their way over towards A, or is Frosty maybe going to create some room over towards this B site? No, it looks like he'll be going for the crossers. KDS popping that ultimate as well to try and scare them off a little bit. Shamson with the plant coming through. Grifty, it's going to be a matter of nanoseconds in terms of the timing here as Kamek will find one. Looking for a lot more from that. Player personnel advantage being granted the way of the OSU players, and Sussy players keep on falling 1 by 1. The Killjoy ultimate coming through and coming through huge to segment off the site. Prevents Vasperoil from really contending up front in personal. Has to put the world on his shoulders here and now, and it's just not going to be enough as OSU finds their first back-to-back set of rounds in the map.
And that one is going to be a very big one. They still got one more on the table on this defender side. There's still a lot to really show here. They could put this series at 5-7 and that is not a bad place to be if you are OSU Scarlet. It is a very contestable position. This feels like it's sort of on the back of Grifty. Look at him now. Currently, match MVP with 15 kills to his 7 deaths. Definitely showing up massive when OSU Scarlet needs him most.
Yeah, and again, you got to continue to lean on him if you are OSU. You also got to see if any of the players can really provide him some support, looking towards Dez to potentially get active here on that Neon, create some separation, create some openings here. Sussy players, though, very aggressive and making the move over towards this A site, sending in that Yoru clone and trying to get maybe some information off of that, and OSU is going to read them through and through. The rotation already over towards this A site. Tinguini in a very interesting spot here, trying to find the cutoff play. Instead, will not be able to find any kills. Gets a little bit of chip damage going, but Shamson will get the plant to go. And now to continue to fortify, OSU is going to be met with the Defender Killjoy ultimate here. As the Sussy players dedicate the lockdown. It's going to force them off of the point. Let that time tick away. Give some separation for Sussy players to hold.
Lockdown, just insult to injury.
Oh my goodness.
And KDS giving probably the biggest insult you can possibly find. Doesn't matter if he's on the low ground. He's going to find 3 head taps. Now Grifty with the world to do in this situation. He's going to TP out, and it's almost insurmountable here. He's going to deny the flawless on the last round. But unfortunately, the chances 4, 5, 7 are going to get denied. The great lead coming out from the Sussy players as we're going to switch over halftime for either team.
War, it feels like this pistol round is so very important. Towards the end of that, we did see OSU start to gain a little bit of momentum, a little bit of breathing room to work with here. They can take this pistol round and really set the tone early on in the swap. Can find Sussy players having to scramble a little bit, whereas if Sussy players takes it, it's 9-4 and realistically grant them that next round as well. And this is almost out of range at that point. OSU, they realistically have to take this pistol round.
It's a pistol that they need. It's a question of, can they get it? And they've won a pistol before on Haven when they are the attackers, so they definitely know how to control this cadence, but it's a question of, how is the team going to respond, especially when you have Vespero in such a weird angle, and the swing comes through. Oh, the trades are actually going to go in the favor of OSU Scarlet.
And that was such a huge setup for the Sussy players, but they're not able to capitalize. And now an interesting ploy here is you have one player over towards C, one player over towards A. And OSU looking to back up potentially. Question is, where are they going to take this spike after an exchange like that? Taking the rotation, and it looks like it's going to be a C push. Slow and steady out of them. It's going to be a lot here for Jamison.
Definitely a lot to handle, but the read is the correct one for OSU Scarlet. You definitely do not want to be pushing this setup. And Chug the Human just takes the head completely off of Jamison.
Coming back.
It's all left on Frosty. We've seen him come up big in these situations with a classic nonetheless. The spike already down. Still half the map to cover and 3 players to go through. This round is definitely trending into the favor of OSU Scarlet.
You know, Frosty is going to have to put on a heroic act here. All these players, all of them knowing exactly where he's coming in from as well. 71 HP, now none. Stez will find the kill, and that is the opener that you need if you are OSU. Staying alive, gaining some momentum with the pistol.
They get to buy, bolster a bit off that previous round. It's the exact round they need, both for the sake of momentum and for exactly what they're wanting to attempt. They're going to also place down this Viper utility, in my opinion, a bit early here. I want to see how Sussy players sort of read into the fact that the wall is covering a bit of B site. They're going to stack 3 players towards B. Look for the aggressive push there. In reality, it's going to be a full split into A. It's all going to be on Vespero. TP's back onto this A site. I don't know if he's going to be able to find anything, especially when he's been identified in this exact position.
Tinguini knows exactly where he is. The rotation out of the Sussy players looking to be in the cards here, but they also want to make sure that they don't let this trickle into B. Wisely so, as that might be the strategy here out of OSU. Dez taking point into the point and trying to round the corner here. Chuck will deal with Noodle, opening the site up. Grifty with another, and it's looking like it's going to be a flawless round going the way of OSU. A team ace as well. Starting to find their groove is OSU.
And that team ace is a really good way to bolster your confidence going into the round where you're in a bonus. Your opponent's maxed out with rifles in such a delicate position when you're down on rounds. You have the gun disadvantage. You have everything to do if and only if OSU Scarlet managed to pick up this round. That could be monumental for them, because then that's putting Sussy players onto another save but we can't talk about theoreticals. We got to talk about here and now. We got to talk about what OSU Scarlet have to do. Noodle with the informational flash, and Dez pushing up as well.
Oh, and Sussy players getting very aggressive towards A Long. It's not going to grant them anything. It is going to grant them a little bit of chip damage off onto Dez, though. Chip damage is not enough in the grand scheme of things, especially when you have your Sky coming in with the heal. Player personnel advantage once again in the early round, granted the way of OSU, as is that B control. Now they can just set up in here and lock down every corner imaginable. Chuck will continue to fortify, and now Noodle find one, KDS with another, KDS with two, and how the round can turn in a matter of moments. Shamson will find two to close, and Sussy players once again able to swing back and swing back huge.
And you talk about a situation where you're down in numbers, they do so good at being up in positioning. Well, OSU Scarlet are making sure B-side's completely cleared. All of the members of Sussy players have effectively wrapped around. They had Frosty effectively in the back line. They had the space towards A cleared. And when they're all swinging in, they're all in unison at the same time. Those are the situations where Shamson, KDS operate the best. They're able to find heads throughout all that chaos.
Now all these teams going to be on even footing here once again. The Phantoms, the Vandals, all across the board will be seen. Sussy players, again, just the aggression over towards this A Long. Didn't necessarily work last time, but it didn't necessarily bite them either. Sending in the dog, getting that information on a couple of players on the side of OSU. Wisely deciding to back up a little bit. Not going to go ahead and full send it down there, knowing that there is that full team stack. Allowing OSU to come to you.
At the moment, OSU don't have that much information yet. Exactly what's happening on this A site. They know at least two players are here. That was scanned out by the dog. But at the same time, there could be more, there could be less. And this uncertainty that they're playing around with is extremely dangerous. Smoke's in. Chuck's on one side. The door's going to be opened again. The flash is going to come through. The trades are going to be put in. Noodle. Big pick there. Another big pick as well. He's finding heads throughout all this chaos. And for Sussy players, he's the man that's showing up. And now Cam in almost an insurmountable position as Sussy players reach that 10, that double digits threshold.
That was such a good round out of them as well. The way that they were able to hold off that push. And can we talk about Noodle? This man is automatic on the Vandal. Again, you can just start to see it across the board. These two teams, very different demeanors, very different stages in this map. Sussy players starting to gain a surplus of credits. OSU buying up here. Their backs up against the wall. You're going to see the Stingers come up. You're going to see the Sheriff as well. Half buy. Once again, getting very aggressive down long. KDS will find the opening. Frag Vespiro with another, but do they expect Dez to be here? And what value can he get out of this positioning is the question. Sliding on through and into enemy lines he goes. Will find one, but it's not going to be enough. Chuck, last player standing in the round. He'll eventually fall as well.
These rounds, when it happens so fast, when it's all over A main control, it's so hard to really expect anything from OSU Scarlet when you're down on the guns. You can't really win out those brawls in a situation where you're not economically favored. But at this point in time, they are able to get a full rifle round. And I love Frosty, even despite everybody else having full rifles, even despite his team being able to buy for him. He's just sticking true and true to the judge. He doesn't really care.
The judge is, if used in the right hands, which Frosty has seemingly proved to be those right hands, it is a absolute barn burner kind of gun here. And Sussy players, they're trying to hold once again, very aggressive over towards A Long, and it's going to blow up right in their face as Dez finds two. And eventually we knew that that strategy was going to break for them. Completely opens the A site up. Shamson, a very interesting angle up from above, waiting for his teammate to rotate back on in. And talked about the judge. It's going to be hard to get value out of it in this spot.
Yeah, definitely going to be hard, especially when you have that KJ locking down the other side of things. But Shamson, quick TP, maybe to add a bit of deception. Frosty on the other side. Cam's going to take down Shamson. So now it's all on Frosty. And this position, I mean, an exit frag would be really all he can ask for. That would deal some fairly significant economic damage. And it looks like he might be giving it in this situation. The peak's going to be coming through. Chuck the Human. Does Frosty read into this? No, he's not able to find it. Chuck with the re-clear onto that space.
Again, in a spot like this, Sussy players, they're still going to have the credits to buy up, but that is a round that OSU desperately needed. Looking a lot more lively on this attacker side. Now you look towards Sussy players to maybe reconsider how aggressive they want to play over towards A long. Again, it worked a couple of times, and sometimes it kind of didn't work, but it also kind of didn't not work. So that one decisively blew up in their face. 4 ultimates across the board as well. KJ ultimate on the line for OSU could be a huge shifter for this round as well to open things up for them.
OSU Scarlet, they're so dynamic with these pushes onto A. We'll see if the Seekers are able to do anything to disrupt this pace. Fast Girl shuts theirs down mid-ultimate, mid-swing. He gets the second 2. Now has his ultimate online, but doesn't even need it in this situation as Noodle has come around, stepped up towards A main. And the rest of the Sussy players, they're playing close towards the site. Look at where the spike is. It's all the way in tree. The aggression just completely quelled. And now Tinguini has a big decision to make. Wants to get anything online because at this point in time, it feels like they're playing for last round. They're playing for basically a hero play to some extent. Wants to see if he can find anybody's head, take any economic damage. But Sussy player is shutting it down so well.
Noodles denies it, and it all comes down to Chuck the Human to prove that he is once again inhuman. He's done it before. Can he do it when the fate of the universe is in the palm of his hands? 18 HP. With 30 seconds left on the board, it looks like he might just have to get out of here. Hold on to that Vandal for dear life. 18 HP, the re-engage goes, and just being shot through the wall. They know exactly where he is, and now it is match point, tournament point for the Sussy players. They have battled through it today, have only lost 1 map all day, and are on the precipice, taking home $700, being your Act 2 champions. 1 more round is all it takes.
1 more round, exactly what they are looking for here. And on these rounds, you can see definitely a lot of pressure mounting for OSU Scarlet on exactly what they're going to do. So many ultimates online, so even if OSU Scarlet send everything at this round, they still need to win 3-4 more. Dez is shooting straight into the backline, though. They're engaging onwards towards B. No. Dez takes some good control, but no picks have been found so far. And Frosty, with this Odin, creates so much space, creates so much presence. The Viper's Pit, as soon as it gets up, it immediately goes down. Sussy players doing such a great job of exploding onto the site. Killjoy ultimate can be invested too. Chaos all around, and now a 2v2 situation as the lockdown gets dismantled.
Sussy players sending in the dog here. Noodle gets the information to go, knows that these players are playing so far off, and allows Vespiril to go in for the defuse. Will get that first half of the spike tapped, but it comes down to this. OSU, they have to find the kills to go. Vespiril, last player standing, time ticking away. 1, 2, can he get the defuse? It looks like he will, and the Sussy players are going to be crowned your Game Arena Valorant Act 2 champs with the defuse. Vespiril, what a way to close!
And what a amazing round, an amazing series, and an amazing entire tournament. Colorblind, the Sussy players, obviously your champions, and I think they deserve the on the start of their name now.
Oh yeah, no, the Sussy players are your champions. It sounds nice. I'll admit it sounds really nice.
It definitely does. You can see the sportsmanship definitely coming out as Sussy players walk into the main room. GG's to basically everybody here. It was an incredible tournament. No bracket reset this time, but Sussy players are not complaining about that at all, as some kind words are exchanged from both teams, and lots of love to everybody who showed up today. From first place to the last, it was an incredible tournament. And both these teams that we just saw on screen, Sussy players walking away $700 in their pocket, OSU Scarlet, $300 for them as well.
Yeah, and you see it finalized here. The Sussy players absolutely dominant through these two maps and ultimately through the entire bracket. Again, they only dropped a single map here today, that being against Akron Esports, and that one went 19-17. Absolutely ridiculous showing out of them. And I do believe as well we are going to have an interview in a matter of moments here with Vaspiral. And again, Sussy players, what else can be said that hasn't been said about these guys? They have just really shown up here today. I think we have them on the line.
Hey,
there we are. How's it going?
It's good.
How you guys feeling? I mean, you guys tore through this bracket.
Yeah, amazing. I've been to like 4 or 5 of these now, and actually winning one feels amazing.
And obviously, these last rounds, they speak for themselves. We had a privilege of talking to Sham at one point in time, and he was saying, oh yeah, we're dominant, we're good, but yeah. I did not expect this much from you guys. Talk to me about how the team comms were going in those final rounds when you guys knew you basically had it in the bag.
Oh, dude, I was like, I don't know. I just said, let's basically shoot them, I mean, I knew, like, I had a good read of where they were going, like, the whole time. So that last round especially, I just said, let me solo C. I know they're going to go B. Let's just stack it, and it's free.
Talk a little bit about that Yoru pick, because it's not necessarily a standard pick in really any composition.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see you kind of come out there, and not only come out there, but dominate with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, our original comp was just Yoru only, and then we added the Raze as a second duelist. But I don't know, I just feel like he's such a pug star type of agent, and we're just shooting people, man, just running at him, so he's perfect for that.
And then talk to me about that last moment. You were the one to really seal the deal to clinch it for your team in a 1v2 situation nonetheless. I mean, what was the excitement there?
Oh, it was amazing. I just got up, hugged my boys, finally won something. It was amazing.
You guys came out cracking on that first map. It was just a different unit of a squad.
Yeah.
I mean, Haven seems to be your guys' map, no?
Yeah. No, we let it slide under the radar the whole tournament, and then grand final. I'm like, all right, we're picking Haven first. This is over for them.
Bringing it out in finals. That's a good strategy. Now I gotta ask. I mean, $700 richer as a team. What do you plan to do with that money?
Probably pay for our expenses. Getting down here. Nothing fancy.
Well, again, you guys had a fantastic show here today. Just fantastic all around. Give your boys a pat on the back. Just great work all around. And we definitely appreciated the show that you guys put on here today.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys casting. And thank you, Game Arena, for having, amazing Valorant events.
Fantastic. Well, that might just about do it for our show here today. War, it has been a fantastic opportunity to cast this with you and just see this entire day unfold, man.
Man, this day has been absolutely incredible. I mean, going into it, I didn't really know any of the players, didn't really know any of the teams, but I think a lot of people have definitely made a name for themselves. And you talk about the champions, Sussy player taking home the basically Act 2 championship all around. It was incredible by them and an incredible way to end the night off with you, Colorblind.
Yeah, fantastic, man. Well, as you said, Sussy players, your Game Arena Valorant Act 2 champions crowned here tonight live. That is going to do it for our broadcast. Huge shout out to our fantastic production staff as well, running everything behind the scenes, making everything, all of us be able to do what we do and just keeping everything afloat. That, again, is just about going to do it. I've been Quinn, better known as Colorblind, joined on the desk by War. We hope you will join us in the future for more Game Arena broadcasts.